The moment I yanked that old lever down just once, I watched the lake wake up like something wild had just been let out of a cage. Water charged forward, roaring through the spillway, the ground trembling under my boots. Sirens blared, radios crackled, people yelling in the distance. And there I stood, barely blinking as rooftops slipped under the rising water like a bad dream you can't wake up from, except I was the one dreaming it. Someone behind me on the ridge road yelled, "You can't do this." But I didn't turn around. 20 minutes ago, none of those 35 houses even existed on a map. Now they were floating just so much debris on the surface of what used to be my lake. Let me roll the clock back for you. Before the flood, before the screaming. If you're watching this from somewhere quiet, maybe Texas, Vermont, I don't know, just know this isn't a story about water. It's about what happens when you stand your ground and refuse to back down, even if it means standing alone. Name's Walter Kane, 68 civil engineer, retired and stubborn as Georgia red clay. I used to be Mr. Lake around here, not because I owned Kane Lake, though I did, but because I treated that patch of water like my third child. Bought it back in '84 with my wife Ruth, built our dream cabin right on the hill, watched two boys grow up buried, one under a willow tree. And after Ruth passed in 2015, that lake was the only place that didn't feel empty. I'd walk the dock in the morning, coffee in hand, talking to Ruth like she was still beside me. Kane Lake listened always. Then the trouble started. The developers, the HOA and Marcia Simmons, queen of the fake smile, showed up on my porch with a brochure and a vision for Hickory Shores, a luxury community, 35 homes, lakefront views. We bought the land around it. She said, all business, they'll face the water. My water. She grinned. Not for long. That was the first shot fired. Turns out the lake was mine, but the dam, that chunk of concrete built in the 40s, technically on county land. I'd patched it, fixed it, cared for it, but on paper, not mine. And the HOA sniffed out a loophole that let them drain marshes, run sewage lines, cut roads across my property. County board shrugged. Sue us, they said, knowing full well a man my age can't outspend lawyers and loafers. Bulldozers came. Pines toppled. My quiet gravel road became a parade of contractors and trucks. My neighbor Donnie, who I'd known for 20 years, sold out to the HOA and didn't even tell me. Just business, he said. I never spoke to him again. All the while I kept silent. People mistake silence for surrender. They thought they were building on some pretty lake, not realizing I'd built the dam, installed a manual bypass and a hidden spillway during wartime. They saw a background for weekend parties. They didn't see the old man who could still pull the plug. Marcia led the HOA like it was a TV show. Her husband Craig always 2 steps behind the rest of them, handpicked to nod along. Jacob, my grandson, 17. Sharp as a tack, strong as a linebacker, helped me set up trail cams. They'll push you out if you don't push back, he said. But I waited. I still believed in civility until the warning letters came, fines for my old fishing boat, the one I kept for Eli, my son, who died overseas. When the HOA threatened to tow it, something in me went cold clear. I knew what I had to do, but I waited for the right moment. Foundations poured, half the houses still skeletons, but the grand reveal was set: banners, drones, champagne. The lake's edge was lowered to make a private beach, and they left the dam unchecked, clueless about the old generator shed. So Jacob and I worked at night, loosened the new bolts, unlocked the flood valve so it would turn smooth when the time came. Grand opening day. Everything was sunshine and realtors and drone shots, kids skipping rocks, folks clinking glasses. And just after lunch, with the sky clear and everyone grinning, I pulled that lever. The lake surged, and in that moment I remembered who I was, who Ruth was, who Eli had been. Then in the chaos, I spotted a moving truck outside one of the new houses. A family was inside, not just workers. A little kid's bike leaning on the porch. My heart slammed in my chest. Jacob, there's someone inside. He was by the shed checking gauges. We ran. I was 68, bum knee and all, sliding through mud. elbow, scraping bark, but I didn't stop until I saw the water hit the new houses like a fist mud debris panic. There on the porch of Lot 11, a young woman clutching a child frozen in fear. Her husband waving a rake at the flood like that would do anything. Jacob shouted about the canoe, but the current had already ripped Eli's boat loose, spinning it away. Only thing left was the utility ATV, the one with the snorkel. We charged back to the cabin, grabbed life vests, and tore down the hill. I floored it into the water, fighting the current, praying we wouldn't flip. Left Gravel Ridge, Jacob yelled, and we got close enough to the porch to haul them all in. Mom, Dad, shaking toddler. I felt like a fool, not a hero. That family Amanda, Doug, and little Calvin had just moved in. They didn't even know Marcia's name hadn't signed an HOA contract yet. They just wanted a safe place for their kid, and I'd nearly drowned them. But before I could explain, the chaos erupted. Marcia's Lexus sat sunk in sludge, her perfect hair ruined, wading over in heels, screaming, "You're going to prison for this, Walter!" She was yelling about terrorism, property destruction, but I just looked her in the eye and told her she better pray the court found her building permits because I'd already handed proof of the HOA's illegal deeds to a local reporter, Shelley. That's when the sheriff showed up with blue lights, drones, environmental crews, one deputy whispering, "Why's there a second valve open?" My blood ran cold. I'd only opened one. Turns out the old fail-safe valve, rusted shut for decades, was dumping water fast, threatening to take out the whole southern ridge and the fancy HOA clubhouse perched on it. Jacob and I raced with the sheriff to the south bank, trees, groaning water pouring out of a crack in the concrete, the clubhouse teetering on the edge. We scrambled for the emergency crank, and I wrenched the bolt loose just in time for the sheriff's men to rescue two trapped staffers. Then with a groan like thunder, the ground gave way. The clubhouse, all that HOA pride, collapsed into the lake with a crash everyone in town heard. Afterward, the silence was deafening, Cane Lake full again, shining under the sun. Marcia stranded on the roof of her Lexus cell phone, raised but no signal, no power left. Shelley turned her mic to me. "Did you know the HOA filed an injunction against you yesterday? They claim you threatened public safety. I hadn't seen any papers, turns out, Donnie. My old neighbor had filmed me at the dam and handed it over. And as if that wasn't enough, a county official stepped forward announcing a legal challenge to my deed. Said a clerical error from decades ago might mean the land, my land, wasn't even mine." Marcia's face lit up, Donnie smug as ever. All that work, and now they wanted to wipe me off the map with paperwork. The next few days were a whirlwind court hearings, a judge with tired eyes. Marcia's lawyer waving fake drone footage of chemical barrels supposedly dumped in my lake in the 90s. But I had proof trail cam footage showing Donnie and another man sneaking barrels in 2 nights before the flood, time-stamped crystal clear. Gasps in the gallery. Then May Hightower, the former county commissioner, wheeled in by a nurse, testified on my behalf, her signature on every map, every deed, every inch of Cane Lake. The judge ordered a full review, no injunction granted. But that night, someone torched my dock, burned Eli's memory, Ruth's locket, everything. Jacob and I fought the flames until dawn, the message clear back down or lose it all. But I had nothing left to lose, so we went public. Shelley filmed me, no edits, telling the story from the start. Within a day, it was national news, HOA corruption, forged approvals, whistleblowers coming forward. Audio leaked of Donnie laughing about planting the barrels. Marcia's assistant handed over emails about bribed officials. In 2 weeks, the county froze. The HOA project revoked permits, issued subpoenas. I proposed turning the southern edge of the lake into a public park in Eli's name, a place for veterans and families, funded by my savings. The town council backed me, people cheered, some cried. Amanda and Calvin came by, thanked me, told me they'd found a real home in town. Calvin asked if he could fish with me someday. Anytime I told him, barely holding back tears. Cane. Lake isn't just mine anymore. It belongs to everyone who stood up for the truth, for what's right, for the memories that outlast paperwork and greed. So next time someone tries to take what matters most from you, maybe don't yell, maybe just open the dam and let the truth flood out. And hey, if you think justice was served or if you think I went too far, let's hear it in the comments below. What would you have done? Where do you draw the line between revenge and justice? I want to know because this story isn't over. Maybe it never will be.